Linda Hirsch, and this is EdCast, a program created and produced by educators for everyone interested in education. The new year brings challenges and opportunities for us all, and student achievement is high on that list. Educators often generate lengthy lists of skills students need to succeed in the 21st century. But an often overlooked component to navigating today's world is living and working together with people from other cultural backgrounds. To this end, CUNY is participating in a model of education which emphasizes collaborative international learning. This technology-facilitated pedagogy enables students to interact and collaborate on projects with peers from other countries and cultures. Today, EdCast welcomes 3 CUNY faculty to share faculty and student experiences in working with peers beyond our borders. Coming up now on EdCast. Joining me today are 3 CUNY faculty involved in collaborative international learning. Dr. Shiro Withanachie is the Associate Dean of the Business School and Director of the Business and Liberal Arts Honors Program at Queens College. Shiro is a Sri Lankan American who draws on her experience of living in Asia and the Middle East to develop innovative pedagogy. She is published on the internationalization of 21st century skills, and she presents around the world. She is the recipient of the Mellon Foundation's Diversity Enhancement Research Grant, the President's Faculty Diversity and Inclusion Award for Excellence in Teaching, and most recently, a Fulbright Specialist Award. Dr. Olga Aksakalova is Professor of English at LaGuardia Community College, where she also co-directs the Office of Global and Experiential Learning and oversees the collaborative online international learning program. She founded and directed the Writing and Community Center at the New Economic School in Moscow. She is a recipient of multiple grants for developing virtual exchange programs, including the Global Scholars Achieving Career Success. Her scholarship focuses on international virtual exchange program administration and composition pedagogy. Amy Ramson is a professor of public policy and law at Ostos Community College and teaches in the paralegal and criminal justice studies programs. She has practiced immigration and international law at firms in New York City as well as Geneva. Her academic research includes instructional technology, service learning, cybersecurity, and collaborative international learning. She is a co-awardee of the Global Scholars Achieving Success Grant and was co-PI on a grant from the French-American Cultural Exchange to develop a privacy law COIL. She is a recently approved Fulbright Specialist. Professor Ramson is founder and chair of the COIL at Hostos Committee. Thank you all for joining me today at Hostos. From your bios, we can see that you all have a lot of experience in a project known as COIL. So, Amy, I'm going to start with you. What is COIL and what do those letters stand for?
COIL is Collaborative Online International Learning, and it's actually a type of virtual exchange. So, because of the internet and the advent of the internet, virtual exchange grew up, and it really facilitates the multicultural interactions between students in different countries, and each of the different programs really has different objectives. So it started with something called telecollaboration. There's a lot of different terminology, but we really focused it now on virtual exchange. And it was with foreign language classes that wanted their students to learn with native speakers. Then the next iteration, if you wish, was with business classes, and they wanted to have like international teams, international business teams. So it was kind of like an example of that. And then came COIL. Now COIL has really taken off like wildfire all around the world, and especially because of the pandemic.
Right.
Because students couldn't travel. It's a little bit different than the other ones because it can cover all different disciplines. So what it entails is usually 2, could be even 3, professors at different institutions. It's usually different countries faculty from different countries, but it could even be from a different culture. Like we were going to have a faculty doing it from a tribal college in the United States, which is very interesting, I think. And what they do is they collaborate and they create 2 or 3 activities. The classic COIL is 3 activities, which I'll mention in a moment.
Well, we're going to talk about those activities later on.
Right.
So we know what COIL then is. It's a collaborative online program. It sounds wonderful. Olga, how did COIL start at CUNY, and when did it start at CUNY?
So it started at different campuses at different times, right? And as far as I know, I came to it in 2016, and prior to that, there wasn't a whole lot of communication between these different campuses. I believe the oldest one was CSI, College of Staten Island, and in 2016, we were asked to come to CUNY Central to meet each other and think about how we can consolidate our efforts, and so that's how we got to meet. And then the next thing was we did a conference at LaGuardia where all these different campuses showcased what they were doing, and it just kind of started that way for us.
I think what happened is also when we were working on COIL projects on our own campuses, we were doing it in silos. And then when we connected, we found out that it's actually aligning with CUNY priorities and initiatives, like career success and DEI and innovative pedagogy. So like Amy said, it became very popular, virtual exchange, because it almost democratizes international education.
Now, what made you each want to participate in this? Shira, what was of interest to you in this?
So because of my background with my international experience and upbringing, I thought I came up with this idea on my own. And then I reached out to Olga because I did some research and found that, again, we're doing these projects in our own classes as faculty without an institution support. So I reached out to Olga, and then I think, Amy, you were going to tell us about how the 3 of us connected, and that's really how we began a friendship and a possible working group, right?
And Olga, what was your interest in getting involved in this?
So like Shiro, I thought I came up with it, and then later I learned that COIL actually existed at SUNY. And in
great
fact,
idea, just,
It was, right? And I think also because I have an international background, and also I was surrounded by faculty at LaGuardia who have international backgrounds. So I started as a faculty in my own class, and my dean, Howard Walk, supported that. He said, try it out, see if anyone else wants to try it out with you, and then maybe we can, you can train other people, and then it kind of started spreading. But yes, the initial interest was totally as a CUNY faculty member.
And what about you, Amy?
Well, I knew nothing about it, and I didn't try it on my own. But that 2016 meeting with Vita Rabinowitz, who was the CUNY provost at the time, I was sent from Hostos. I still don't know why, but they must know that I love everything international. I majored in Spanish, and so after that, I went to conferences, and I started COIL at Hostos.
Yeah. So the 3 of you connected via what?
Right. So after the CUNY conference, CUNY COIL conference, we had a session where we needed to think about the next steps. How can we work together? And we formed a CUNY COIL working group. And we set goals about developing resources, consolidating, institutionalizing COIL, getting professional development. So we were holding regular meetings, and then we applied for a grant together.
Okay, perfect.
Today we have over 50 partnerships, international partnerships across our colleges, right, from BMCC to Guttman to our own individual colleges as well. And I think, going back to the different initiatives that CUNY has, it sort of links with the Career Success Initiative and all these other CUNY academic CUNY Innovative Teaching Academy. COIL is listed as one of the high impact practice.
That's fabulous. Now let's talk about students. And what do students get out of working on this project, all right? Let's talk about what the benefits are for students of getting involved in COIL. Shira, do you want to start us out? What are some of the benefits that students get out of participating in this program?
Sure. So there are so many benefits to implementing COIL in a classroom. When a student is connecting with their peer in another country, they're working on a project. So that means they're enhancing very particular skills like communication, teamwork, intercultural activities. So now they're becoming more empathetic to different cultures. They understand how to work with different kinds of people. There's an organization called the National Association for Colleges and Employers, and they've done some research with using feedback from employers, and they came up with very specific skills like leadership, critical thinking. These are skills that students gain through these COIL projects, and the benefits are not only for students but also for faculty. Faculty are connecting with other faculty in other countries, so they're increasing their network capabilities. They're communicating with faculty in other disciplines, so now scholarship potential is so vast.
So benefits for both faculty and students
Absolutely.
here. Let's hear a little bit from the students. We have some videos that you sent us, and I think they really speak to how students have benefited from this project. The first video that we're going to look at is a student named Adam Budlal, and he is from LaGuardia Community College, I believe, and an education major, and I think he speaks very well to what he got out of this. So let's take a look at Adam's video.
Yeah, my name is Adam Budlal, I'm an education major, and one of the biggest things I learned from working with Rakuto, my Japanese partner, is that although he has a different upbringing, we share similar ideas that education should be arts inclusive and contain cultural pedagogy, because it gives students a sense of self-identity, and students should feel safe and have fun in the classroom and not be bored and unengaged just reading textbooks and answering questions. I was surprised when I found out my partner was also an education major, because what are the chances I get paired up with someone pursuing the same career and studying the same things as me? I was also surprised how similar Rakuto's education experience was to mine. I discovered my partner and I both wanted to be engaging and fun educators, incorporating play and arts, and not being just result-oriented teachers. Even assessments don't have to be tests. It can be in a game fashion or something that gives students less stress and performance anxiety, because I'm a firm believer that students absorb less knowledge when they're under too much stress. I recommend to other students to do the COIL, Collaborative Online International Learning, because it is not only a fun and unique experience, but fun and unique experience that can get you out your comfort zone, but it can also be a cool story to tell your coworkers and friends later on.
So what did you think of what he said?
Yeah, so just for a little bit of context, Adam was in a leadership seminar with Professor Kyoko Toyama, who teaches counseling at LaGuardia, and they did collaborate with Japan. It's a long-standing collaboration we have with Matsusha College and Professor Justin Barrera. What the project focus was, it was United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is equal education for all. And the students were asked to write their own educational journey, the story about that. They were also reading the book, My Name is Malala, I believe, right? And then they collaborated on doing a presentation. And so there are a couple of things that he said that I find very valuable. One is student engagement. You were asking earlier about student benefits. So the students get incredibly engaged. COIL really enlivens the classroom, and especially during the pandemic, we really were looking for that, right? We were looking to provide that space for students because they couldn't move around a whole lot. So I think he really speaks to that. He also mentions culturally relevant pedagogy because that's one of his interests, and that is when students bring their own culture to the table. And so a lot of the COIL projects are incredible for CUNY students because they have a chance to not only represent New York or American culture, but they bring in their native cultures, right? And so that validates their sense of self-identity, as he was also saying. So.
Great, thank you. So let's now hear from another perspective. And that is from one of the professors that you worked with, who is a professor in Mexico. And that was Professor Martin Pantoja Aguilar, and he is from the Department of Entrepreneurship and the Director of Business and Economics Faculty at the University
of Guanajuato.
In Mexico. Now, he speaks to the importance of this program for business students. So let's hear what he has to say.
So as you know, language training, intercultural skills, equity, etc., are the main, let's call it keystones for the COIL. But let's not forget that a university is composed of chemistry, business, physics, and many other areas. And we need our professionals to be working out there with these skills. So for the business-like environment, especially here in Guanajuato, we are surrounded by companies from all over the world. So more and more, we need graduates that really understand how to deal, how to do negotiations, how to set up a project in a multicultural environment.
So what were your thoughts about that from the business perspective?
So actually, like Professor Martin mentioned, and also student Adam mentioned, this is a very fun way of doing things and being creative. You know, Amy always reminds us it's fun when you include COIL into your classroom. I teach statistics, and as the associate dean at Queen's College, it's not a fun subject to teach, but it's quite creative when you include COIL, and here you have a section where students can come in and connect with students from another part of the world and present data to a multicultural audience.
It makes a really strong case for that. I really like that. Now, one of the things you've all mentioned about is how students learn about cultural differences. So we have two videos from students. One is from a Mexican student, Aurelie Lopez, who I believe worked with Professor Pantoja. So let's hear what she has to say. She has quite an unusual experience, I think. All right, let's listen to her.
Hello, good morning. My name is Aurelie Lopez. I am a student of the University of Guanajuato. I am studying accounting, and I want to share my experience of work with students from another country. They have a different culture, times, lifestyles, but in my experience, I think that it was a great opportunity for growth because you know another world, another persons, and I am in love of this project. So the most difficult thing for me was a communication because the Mexicans are very warm. And for example, when I met my classmates, the first things that I tried to do was live with them, ask their name, say, hello, how are you? What they like it, where they live it, and other things to get know them better. And a classmate of New York stopped me and she told me, we are here to work, not to make friends. And I say, oh, my hair is broken, but it's fine. I understand. And I am sorry, just that I am Mexican and we like to have friends everywhere around the world. So it's okay. We work to work. And so other thing that is more difficult is due to time difference, communication was so difficult, but in my experience, the work was achieved and we were able to collaborate together in an excellent way. We can speaking about my own business and what happened with him around the world. And in the end, I made two great friends.
So she has a very charming experience of wanting to make friends and being somewhat rebuffed, but only temporarily. What do you make of that experience?
A couple of things. So number one, what she's talking about is definitely something that our students are experiencing. You know, it takes them a while to get adjusted. So we are, you know, and we're constantly trying to improve our training. So we're now spending quite a bit of time talking to faculty about how to prepare students for international exchange so they know how to engage and what to expect. from the students in another culture, another country. And then what I think is also interesting here is that they were collaborating with LaGuardia, so this is a community college. A lot of our students work.
Right.
They are in school to do work. So I think that really pinpoints to the reality of a community college.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, of course, she did say that she ultimately made friends, but I thought it was interesting to hear
That's
from
right.
her perspective. And of course, between Adam and her, they really spoke to the other difficulties. I want to ask you just quickly about language. Is language a factor here? Because you said they're working with Mexico, Japan. How do students handle that?
Well, that's very interesting because English really is spoken all around the world. So in a sense, we here are lucky because when we do these COIL projects, most of the students can speak some level of English. But for example, I am doing a project at Hostos with Central America, and the reason that this organization called COIL Connect chose us was because we have the highest number of Spanish-speaking students, so it's going to be kind of more bilingual. And then when we had this GSACS project, the Global Scholars Grant, we had actually from Queens College, we had English classes for the students.
Okay. We have time for one more video, and we're actually getting short on time. So I want to go to a student from Hostos Community College, Tara Randall, who speaks about her experience.
So the opportunity to participate in a binational project with Morocco was offered, of course, and we were able to choose from a variety of topics, mainly focused around like inclusion and laws between two different countries. I chose inclusion for children with disability and how attainable resources were, and as well as the laws that we have in place. I was saddened to learn that the Morocco students, they didn't find much. They didn't have many resources. They worked with the Hanan Association in Morocco, where I think they had a hard time getting in or being able to speak with someone, whereas I found like a bevy of resources in New York City, of course. Looking around, looking through, you can find so many resources, whereas in Morocco, they don't have that many resources at all. After our discussion, I worked with a team leader in Morocco. His name was Teha, I believe, and he and his team, which about maybe 4 other students, we did have a great Zoom call, but we all gelled really well. We vibed really well. It's just that I was made aware of possible limit of freedom of speech, where we had a really introspective conversation about the laws and the government and how we see funds to be appropriated and where it's going to and if it's equitable. But either way, it showed me the benefit of living here in America, where we have so many resources at our fingertips versus other countries where it hasn't even it hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, so Tara Randall, I did not do this project with her, but she was a student with me after, and I saw what a leader she was. And she had told me that in this project, she took on the leadership, because any student can do that. They can, take on positions, and that is one of the wonderful benefits of COIL.
So she also learned something about her culture, American culture.
No, I think that that's wonderful because we want them to look, or actually at CUNY, we usually focus on social issues in our COIL projects, and it was great that she was able to look at it from different lenses, and feel appreciation for the country and understand it better.
So many interesting things here. Now I want to go back to, you all received a very big grant from the Aspen Institute, and it is a Global Scholars Grant. Let's tell us a little bit about that grant and how has that grant affected the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so this was a virtual exchange program that involved 5 CUNY colleges. Hostos, LaGuardia was the leader, Queens College, BMCC, Gutman, and
That was it. That's
That
the
was it,
five.
5, yes.
That's the 5.
And we collaborated. So the Stevens Initiative, the funder, they support COIL projects between U.S. institutions and institutions in the Middle East, North Africa region. So we collaborated with 4 different universities. There was Abdelmalek Asadi University in Morocco, Palestine Ali University in the West Bank, Jordan University of Science and Technology, and
Morocco.
No, Egypt.
Egypt, of course, American University in Cairo. And so it was a 2-year grant, and it was called Global Scholars Achieving Career Success. The curriculum revolved around UN Sustainable Development Goals, and it was career success. So we integrated a lot of career development activities because it was important for us to offer students a structured way to think about how COIL prepares them for the workplace that is global in nature.
So actually that's what I think GSAC's built, an ecosystem across a campus. So for example, at Queen's College, we had career specialists connect with faculty and students, just demonstrating how to align a course learning outcome with career competency. We had faculty connect with faculty in other departments whom they would never have had the opportunity to meet. And here they are infusing interdisciplinary projects into their courses. Now we're even working with international officers for possible partnerships.
Great.
You know, so it's really a wholesome, holistic way of doing things. It's built student-faculty exchanges in different countries.
We are running out of time, so I think we're going to have to stop here. I can give you 5 seconds if you can tell me what's ahead for COIL really quickly.
Okay, well, maybe I'll just talk about Hostos, because we decided that we wanted to have our information be able to be shared by the whole world. So we got a grant for a COIL OER starter kit, and so we did that one summer. We started it, and then we invited some of our other colleagues from CUNY, and we expanded it. And what we put on are modules in all different disciplines that anybody can use if they want to do a COIL.
That's great.
I think COIL can really help, and we're working on it to recruit international students into CUNY.
Perfect.
At Queen's College, I'm a Fulbright specialist with the University of West Indies in Jamaica, so that's a whole big pathway that we can elaborate on. And also we're working with LaGuardia with transfer initiatives, so collaborating together on professional development for faculty is another route to take.
Thank you so much. 3 of you have just been terrific guests talking about a wonderful project, and I think at this time in the world, there couldn't be a better time to emphasize international collaboration. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
That's it for this edition of EdCast. We wish you all a healthy and a happy new year, and stay with us for 2025. We look forward to bringing you the top stories in education and all the things that you need to know. It promises to be an interesting year. Thanks so much for watching, and keep in touch.
We'd like to hear from you. Please send your thoughts and comments to CUNYEdcast@gmail.com.